Mate turned up and she'd been here maybe a month or two, and I took her on a visit, and I'd been here 3 years or so. And this new person said the greeting, the like salam alaikum. She said that to the woman, and the woman turns to me and says, "She is way better at Arabic than you."
This is the After Dinner Mint, a podcast of stories I tell you at dinner. Think of the mint as the stories you tell after you've been kicked out of the restaurant, holding a mint, standing in the street, telling more honest stories with your friends than you did at the table. It's not a sermon. It's not advice. It's not self-help. We're processing what we're learning about faith and life, honestly, in community, to encourage you to do that with your God and your community.
Hi, I'm your host Beck, and today I'm here with Jill, a GP and a cross-cultural worker in the Middle East. She's also one of our regular writers at Stories. So thanks for joining us, Jill.
Hey, Beck. Thanks for having me. Thanks for welcoming me into your shed via screen.
It's a very fancy shed. Now, tell us, for people who don't know you, like, what does a typical week look like for you as a GP cross-cultural worker? Like, what kind of things make up your week?
I feel like it's a bit misleading because it's true I'm a doctor and I do work in a clinic here, but it's only 1 day a week. I co-lead a team of other expats, and we live here in this big city, and we're here to do community development work and to love people well. So I end up doing other community health programs during the week, like a mental health trauma healing group for women and a boys club. And I help manage some Arab staff who do a girls club and exercise group for women. And then I'm doing, just the admin to do with leading a team of people and working for an NGO and visiting people. That's a big part of what we do, people that we meet in the clinic or who are in our programs, or the families of the kids in our programs. Yeah, so that's like what my work week is like. So compared to when I first arrived, when I first few years of being here, I was doing more medical stuff or in people's homes, and now I have more admin stuff I have to do and meetings. So not my favorite thing to do, but it's like when you grow in responsibility, you have to end up doing things that enable other people. So
it's a necessary evil, isn't it?
Necessary evil, yeah, to try and like build capacity. It's the cost of being a grown up. I feel like that's not anything you want to do. You have to do it, enable other people. Yeah, and then because I live in this city that is pretty ugly, so it's not like when I'm not, when I'm having downtime, then I will exercise in my bedroom, or I love scrolling Instagram for inspiration, and I love doing a bit of homemade art, painting, reading. Yeah, spending time. I live with 3 other girls, so hanging out. There's always something going on in our house.
Oh, nice. Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And how long have you lived with the ladies there? Because when you originally went to Jordan, I'm just remembering from your newsletter, but you were in a bigger city before, right? And then it was a big thing where you went out to like this smaller, the dusty city, right? Like, how long have you been in the dusty city?
I've been here the last 3 years, and I was 7 years in the other bigger city. So I used to live for 7 years. I just lived with 1 or 2 other girls, but the last 3 years I've lived with 3 other girls. We're sort of like a little hub because there's not many expats living in our city, so we all live together. And there's us, and then there's another family from Europe and an older single gentleman who's widowed. So there's 3 little hubs of us in this city.
That's lovely. And are they the people that you serve with as well, or are they here doing different things?
Yeah, the people I serve with. So I lead them, and we work together in different community projects. And it's good because we have different functions in each other's lives. We have friendship with each other. We are work colleagues. We are ministry partners. We are kind of like family to each other when someone's sick.
Yeah.
There were all sorts of things. Yeah.
That's really, there's something really beautiful about that. That's like that. There's like a C.S. Lewis quote about friendship that I'll butcher, but it's that kind of thing that you're not looking at each other. You're kind of looking out and serving together. But in that, I love how it sounded like you've become family.
Mm.
Yeah. Like what helps as an adult to like set up like a household like that to run well? Because I can imagine that would be quite tricky when everyone's quite set in their ways. Like what's
We have a secret, not a secret, but like what is to our advantage in this setup is that 3 of us are Australian, and we all come from similar theological, cultural kind of backgrounds and studied at the same Bible college in Sydney. So I think having so much shared values and even some mutual friends, that helps a lot. And so when we have the 4th member of our house moved in this year, she's American. So she, to her credit, she's been super gracious at adapting to us and what routines were already established. She's been very sweet jumping into Australian culture. She got warned that it might be quite overwhelming to suddenly, because most Americans here are working and living with other Americans. There's a lot of Americans, so for her to suddenly be like cold, no Americans, just her, and then all these Australians.
Yeah.
Was a big, but she started recording a dictionary of Australian and vocab and idioms, and she's got like 500 words in it or something. It's quite amazing.
Oh my gosh.
Sometimes the older gentleman in our team, he's a 70-year-old Australian, full of idioms, and he's always saying things, and sometimes I'm like, don't write that in your Australian dictionary. I've never heard it before. I think it's
No, he just made it up. That's a thing to him. That's not all of us.
Yeah, that's right.
500. Wow.
Yeah. So we've had to be like, oh, okay, just be conscious that just because we've already decided where to put the appliances in the kitchen, or what is the routines of the showers, and I don't know, like we have to make space for a new person with new things. It's stressful when there's crunch points on life. Like we keep running out of water because this whole country doesn't have enough water, and then sometimes it's a day, sometimes it's a week without water, so we have to go and buy bottled water and then just have like a little bird bath, and that can be, those weeks can be hard to live together because everyone's feeling a little bit like crunchy, a bit irritated about, the dishes pile up.
I can empathize. I don't have a bathroom right now. I can empathize.
Oh. Yeah. It's really hard when so we were reflecting, oh gosh, we might feel like we're doing okay at being godly until some of those things are removed, and then you're like, oh, there it is. There's that grumpiness. There's that selfishness.
Yep. No, you're like, it's so easy to be like, I'm super patient until someone like, yeah. For me, I'm like, it's children.
Yeah. Sometimes I think as an overseas worker, you can feel like I've already paid my dues. I've like given up enough by being here. So I don't know. It's a bit strange. You can then forget. No, life is hard and doesn't work like that.
Yeah. You can't be like, oh, I've just, like, but my quota, you're like, I've done the quota now. So like,
yeah,
I deserve it. Yeah. Man, that's brutal. Now, but I like the sense of it's setting up the rhythms, like having those shared values kind of like help you negotiate conflict, which is really, all good families do, really.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's just easy to prioritize. Thank you for letting me just like, I was like, how does this work? I'm just,
I think, and it's also, it is helpful when you have work in common because you share the victories together and you share the frustrations together. So that also helps you bond with each other, I
Mm.
think. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Like working and serving together
Mm.
and living together. Yeah. So, what are you doing when you feel like most like yourself? Kind of like, this is what I was made to do. Like, what? I mean, it's obviously not admin that makes you feel alive, but like, what?
I think when I am either sitting in a poor Arab family's home and it's really chaotic, and they know me well enough and I know them well enough that they are relaxed and there's a lot of banter or playfulness around, and you enjoy making little jokes, and when you can get to the point in speaking Arabic and understanding culture, you can make jokes that they laugh at. I mean, it can be laughing
Mm.
at you, but when you feel like, yeah, you feel welcome and alive. Like the other day, I was visiting. We went to visit this one woman, and when we get there, there's like four women in her living area with all of their children. It felt like a daycare. There was like about 25
Oh,
kids under 5 years old,
oh wow.
and we that happens a lot. You never know what'll happen or who's there or what's going on. But one thing made me laugh. There was They always make tea in a teapot and have it sitting there, and then they pour it to you in a glass. But this one kid who was probably two and a half or something, he just decided he wanted a cup of tea. So he, behind his mum's back, I could see him going. He went to pick up the teapot, but he just held it on an angle, and so he's walking halfway across this room, and tea is just pouring out of the spout of the teapot all over the floor, and it would be a very sugary black tea. That's what they drink. Psh, all over the ground, and this is like a totally common thing, but it was comical because it was extreme, like a good pour, sugar all over the floor, and to her credit, mum didn't. It was just like another part of the chaos, and she didn't scream or get upset. She just went and got a towel to mop it up, and yeah, just
Aw.
things that I like. That's good when you can be enjoying people in their real environments and feeling like you're part of their life, you're
Mm.
part of their family. And then another very different context where I feel alive is when there'll be a woman like that, but she started to open her heart and tell you about the hard things in her life. And I feel God give me compassion, and I feel drawn to walk beside her in her suffering, or to bring her comfort, or to listen, to see her, because maybe she's never really felt like anyone's seen her before. The other day, I went to a session that we were running about inner healing, and there was a woman there who I've seen before at clinic as a patient, and I remembered that she was one of the patients amongst many that has induced feelings of being annoyed within me because she's asking for things all the time. And then we sat and we had to do discussion time after this little session about inner healing and about lies people have spoken over us, and our emotional relation, the relational health, yeah, the health of our relationships. And she said, I find it really hard to express I love you to my daughters. I just find it hard to, like, I want to say it to them, but I can't say it to them. And I asked her, what was it like in that home that you grew up in? And she said, she's just this local little Arab lady wearing a hijab. She said, well, when I was like 4, my mum died and my dad remarried, and my stepmom was really horrible. So I said to her, oh, well, that sounds like, I don't know that you ever had love expressed to you. And then she said, yeah. And then when I had children, I got older, had children, and my 9-year-old son was run over by a car in front of me and died. And my husband won't let me cry and be sad because he says I should just stop. So I'm like, oh my gosh, you have suppressed a lot of grief in there. And she
Yes.
had never really processed those things before. So every time that happens, I feel like what a privilege. Like she's just opened this stuff up, and there's all this pain, and it hasn't been seen or received by anyone. And I don't know, that makes me feel alive as well. Yeah.
I mean, I know that you're a GP, but like the things you love sound a lot like social work, like therapist, like, you know, there's a lot of like that woven in there that really like, yeah, that real joy of seeing people where they are, being like, oh, this is the thing, this is the real thing, like we're really talking about it and here it is. And but I love even the other part about like that really, you know, those really wild home visits, because it sounds like you've just done so much work to, yeah, live cross-culturally. You're like, hey, I can get the joke and I can be a part of it now. Like I can imagine that would just take so long to get to that point.
Yeah. It was a very painful first few years. I knew it would be hard to learn. I knew it would be hard to live cross culturally and learn a language, but I think I discovered I was worse at it than everybody else at language learning, for example. And so I remember
Oh,
once
that would make me so angry.
a new teammate turned up, and she'd been here maybe a month or two, and I took her on a visit, and I'd been here 3 years or so. And this new person said the greeting, the like salam alaikum. She said that to the woman, and the woman turns to me and says, "She is way better at Arabic than you." Stop it! Stop it! I've been studying it for 3 years. Don't tell me she's better than me.
Oh,
Sorry.
stop it. The Arabs sound like
Arabs
my
are very.
mum's family is
It's
Spanish,
like,
and they're just like that. They're just like, let me tell you exactly what I think. You're like, I didn't ask for your opinion.
yeah, and they feel like the way to encourage someone is to sort of like shame them into doing something. Like, you're terrible. There's this thing they say, "Inti tahki Arabi bilasan thqil." That like you speak Arabic with a heavy tongue, which means you're rubbish at it.
Oh man, I just want to speak Arabic so bad because there are so many Arabs at my son's school. But all I can like, and it's selfish. All I just want to do is because I'm like a little white girl. I just want to talk Arabic and be like, hello. All I can say is like, salam alaikum. That's it. Like,
That's good though. They would appreciate anything because it shows that you're not running away from them and thinking, "Oh my gosh, I don't like Arabs. I'm scared of them." By even saying that, you're showing your posture is towards them, and that would mean a great deal to them.
oh, good. Because there was one lady who didn't speak any English, and then she said her one English word, which was like, nice. So, we had a good conversation.
Such a bogan word to choose.
I know. I was like, she was fully covered like a full niqab, and then, like a black one. And I was like, salam alaikum. And she was like, nice.
That is so great. That deserves to be in a comedy show, I feel, a comedy sketch.
I really. How did you become a Christian, Jill? Like, I don't actually know the story.
My parents became Christians as adults. So when I was born into a family of believers, and when I was 7, I remember deciding, I went to Sunday school. I heard Jesus could live in my heart if I chose to invite him. So I did. And then I never like left my faith or anything. But when I went to Bethel, which is the Christian school in Albany, I went there to year 10, and then it only went to year 10. Had to switch across to Nash's, North Albany. And I'd never met kids who were not from Christian homes. And most of the kids in my classes were not from Christian homes and had never met a Christian. And there was a girl that I got put next to in chemistry who never met a Christian and was very curious. She was partially interested in the boys from Bethel. She was also curious about Christianity. So we used to have conversations, and I had no idea how to explain what it was that I believed. So I said, oh, Christianity is kind of like Catholicism, but without the candles and without Mary. And that didn't
It's not
illuminate
wrong.
anything for her. And I reflected on the fact that that probably wasn't a very clear answer. So I started reading John Dickson books and working out how to explain what I believe. And she became a believer after about a year. And it was so exciting. And I thought, I want to be doing this all my life. I want to be sharing Jesus with people. So that was like a massive formative time for me. I went to uni, went off to Perth, GWA, was part of the Christian Union, which was very influential for me. I'd never read a whole book of the Bible as a book, as opposed to a verse here, a verse there. So just understanding biblical theology, the whole sweep of the Bible, being amongst like-minded, keen believers was exciting. And yeah, I think just as I hit bumps in life, like in my early 20s, I think that's when I sort of discovered what it meant. It was like I'd had this gift all along, but I didn't really know what it was or why or how much I needed it until I bumped off against myself in life. Like having a heartbreak when I was 21 and moving out to live with other people and just realizing my sinfulness, selfishness, just realizing that I needed grace actually. And there was a book I read called The Ragamuffin Gospel that really brought that home for me, which is, it's not just that you're saved through grace. Your whole Christian life is through grace.
I've never read that one, but it is so true. Like, and it is that thing of, I love that the gospel in some ways is so simple that a child can accept it. And you think, yeah, that's a really true and beautiful thing. But I love that as you go along, it's not just an intellectual assent. It's that I really do understand that I'm a sinner and I really, really need God's help every single day to live the way he calls me to, because it's good and it's hard.
Yeah. I think I was a pretty good girl, so it was confronting when I failed to be good or I was disappointed in myself. And that's when you need to believe that it's about grace, not your goodness or achievement, even in a Christian sense.
Yeah. So who is someone who's like encouraged you or inspired you in your Christian walk, and why?
I have a friend who is she lives in Sydney at the moment, but she's from Perth, called Rowena, and I heard about her a lot, and then we sort of eventually met, and we're very different. So I feel like it's this surprise friendship because she's very pragmatic and she's very smart and she's very witty, and I'm like a bit more whimsical, but I don't feel judged by her, and I feel like we can bring beauty into each other's lives. Like she is really good at being faithful to me and enjoying who I am, even though I'm so different to her, and also like speaking the hard word if needed. And she accepts my more like, even my more whimsical faith. Like my faith would be a little bit more probably expressive or creative or sway, like mildly charismatic than hers, but like she has taken that on board and we can talk through these things together. And I just really admire that she's had a lot of knocks in life, but she never gives up. She never stops enduring, and for the sake of Jesus. And she is very willing to be weak and to rely on other people and receive people's help. And that takes, so she's got humility and endurance. And yeah, I lived with her for 2 years or so, or 3 years before I came here.
Oh,
Yeah. And she was very generous. Like I was not sure where I was going to end up, and I wanted to do a trip to look at different countries and teams, and she said, don't pay rent for 6 months and just like use the money and go on a trip away. Even though she had a mortgage, like she's just fully in it with me. Yeah.
I think there's something really lovely about people when you come across them where they're not trying, and particularly if you live together, like she's not trying to change you. You know, some people are like, I'm very like this, and then, you know, everyone should be this way.
Mm-mm.
But it sounds like she's just very encouraging of like, you know, you love Jesus, but like in the way that God made you to be, and I'm so here for it. Like not trying to change it or force it or anything like that. Yeah, I just think it's a rare gift.
Yeah. I think there is humility in her being able to do that.
Yeah.
And feelings, maybe it's humility in her personality, but also humility in her faith, because it's not like every expression of faith has to be in the same, what do you call it? The same shape as hers. Yeah.
Yeah. She's like, look, I'm a triangle and you are like a circle, and she's not like, you have to come over here and be a triangle because this is the way like the best, you know, all the triangles are the best ones before God.
Yeah. Yeah. That was a perfect analogy.
I'm like, I don't know if this is brilliant or terrible. Like, I'm too tired to tell. But it's the best.
You know, I write my best essays when I'm tired, because it's when you're like, no, I cannot waffle right now because I really have to be very clear about what it is I'm saying, because I'm too tired to understand myself. So that's what you were doing right now. I feel like you're like, just need a really concrete way of explaining it. It was very clear.
Yes, you're like,
very good job.
Explain like my children. It is the truth.
Yeah. I was like, you can tell you're a mother of young children. You know, place people, they still have the windows. Just do they still have the
Yes, they do.
Shaped doors or windows or whatever they are.
They do. Oh man, I'm like, before I move on, have to tell you, I have learned that actually your brain does change after having small children, because your brain takes over like, I don't even know. It takes over parts, or it's like, you don't need this other stuff that you knew. What you need is like, you know, I don't know, attunement and empathy or whatever, like things that you're like, I don't really have much of that. But the body's like, we need to give you some space for this. So throw out other things that you know. So now I go around and I just don't know words anymore, which is fun.
Yeah, that's okay. Yeah.
But unrelatedly, like it's complete segue with no whatever. Can you... Could you please?
This is going to be very clear. We're up to point 4, guys. Question 4, ready. For those taking notes.
Yes, for those who are like, I have my interview schedule. Could you please tell me about a hard season you've walked through and how you've experienced God's faithfulness in that season?
Yeah, sure.
I can't be laughing while I ask you this. Like it's...
But it's being human, which is what this question is about. So it's perfect, actually. I reckon, yeah. If you ask me any month of the year, any week of the year, I'd probably have different answers, because there's always something. But I think for a little season now, feeling compassion fatigue in my work. And so I just thought, okay, how can I explain this? So I just want to throw some words at you. How do I know I'm feeling compassion fatigue? I mean, so since being overseas, I've learned about Enneagram personality types, and I'm an Enneagram 2, so I like to be helpful. And then you can get to the point of feeling like used by people, or like no one's caring for my needs. So it's not a surprise that this would happen to someone in a healthcare profession, but it manifested as feeling like I'd get to my day off and I'd feel empty. I'd feel like when I don't have things I have to do, I don't know who I am, and I feel just this wave of gross emotions would come over me, and I'd feel like dumped by the wave and I'm just washed up on the shore, and I would feel empty, and I would when I'd be in clinic or getting messages from people, I'd be feeling like I had my defense shields up, and I would get angry easily, and angry at having to feel like I have to overfunction for people and I have to solve problems and be responsible, and and then yeah, being easily irritated when there's the inevitable interpersonal frictions, or that the responsibility that comes with leading when you have to make decisions and not everyone will like your decisions or whatever. So that was kind of how it manifests. And I would sit there and hear a sad story from someone, which in the past would have moved me to compassion, and instead I felt like, oh yeah, everyone's story is like that. Everyone's story has domestic violence and poverty and this, yeah, whatever. So it's not a normal response. Yeah. So I think if I look big picture, how has God been faithful to me in that? I would say in his kindness, it wasn't like I sat down and said, okay, God, we need a strategy, what to do about this. But in his kindness, he had already been bringing into my life different professional people with skills to help peel back layers for me. For example, like 2 years ago, I'd started seeing a spiritual director, or having sessions with a spiritual director, where we really focus on my experience of Jesus and interacting with him more in my emotions, in my imagination, asking him what's going on when I have these reactions. I had already been seeing a counselor and doing some EMDR with them. And I think, my whole house has been on this whole thing of learning more about differentiation and family systems theory and anxiety within relational systems and all this stuff. It's all very fascinating.
It's very fascinating.
And I think I kept having this image come to mind whenever I did sort of like imaginative prayer of me putting my weary head on Jesus's chest and taking deep breaths. And if I boiled it down to what helped me, it was something would shift inside me when I could be more attuned to the presence of Jesus and start to notice him. And just hearing him say, I'm with you, I'm for you, I know you, you belong here with me. That's very, very helpful in all of this like tiredness, anger, anxiety kind of stuff going on inside me. And I really enjoy the passage in Zephaniah 3:17, which, okay, let me find it. It's a classic, which you probably find on a poster somewhere. I tend to be cynical when I am tired and not doing well. So just waiting for my Bible app to load. So I think that when I hear that God loves me, and that's the answer to everything, my cynical self says either that God's love is a bit lame and not that great or not that effective, or that God's love is naive, like that it's just God loves you. Yeah, but what about in all the grossness of my heart or of what's going on?
Yeah, if he really knew what I was like, he wouldn't actually like me.
Yeah, exactly. So I remember when I'm still waiting for my Bible app to load. When I was at Bible college, they taught us about with preaching, when you have a passage, you have to think, what will your congregation be naturally thinking about this passage that is not true? You have to call it out. And so when I look at this passage, my natural instinct is to not believe it, because I'm like, yeah, God loves me, but it's lame, his love. Yeah, God loves me, but he's naive. So this passage, I'm going to have to go off my memory. It's that one that said, God rejoices over you with singing. I need to find a Bible. Have you got a Bible or a working Bible
Yeah,
app?
I'll look it up. Yeah.
Zephaniah 3:17.
Let's find
It's
it.
like got this picture of God as a warrior. So he's not lame.
Ooh.
He's a
Yeah.
warrior God who's delighting over you with singing. It's a very strong, strong image. It sort of reminds me of like Lord of the Rings, like this manly, strong rescuer coming in to delight over you.
Aha.
And
There it is.
yeah,
It says,
read it
"The
for us.
Lord your God is in your midst, a mighty one who will save. He will rejoice over you with gladness. He will quiet you by his love." This is ESV. He will exult over you with loud singing.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah. It's very beautiful. It's very, don't you think it's like this picture of this strong, present, engaged, loving God? Not this old fuddy-duddy God, or no, fully
No.
present, fully capable, fully loving, delighting. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's someone that you're like, I can put this down because I trust that you have this.
Yeah.
Like, and I think this is the thing, what I love that you're describing, and obviously it wouldn't have happened like overnight, but it's that initially just getting really curious,
Mhm.
like what is going on here? Because you're not logically just, you know what I mean? You're going about your day and you're like, why am I so angry? Like, why am I
Yeah.
so angry about this? Or why
Yeah.
do I previously, people that I like to see, I don't want to see, or I have dread about seeing them? Like, why all of a sudden something that I love to do, I now hate and I can't bear it? But actually, underneath that is that when you really pick it apart, is that like, oh, I'm serving and no one sees me and I'm alone and I have to carry this alone and I really can't.
Mm.
So I love that, like, over time it's learning, like, are some of these things true? And really looking at like scripture and being like, well, are they true? Are they not true? Like, what things
Mm.
do I need to kind of like weed out?
Yeah.
Because they're just stuff that, like, it feels urgent and true, but sometimes they're just not.
Yeah. You put it well, because I was just even last week reflecting on it, and again in a different way, and how I was reflecting on how I see if I was having an out of body experience. If I look at how I am when I'm in clinic and I'm resentment is building up in me and people are asking all these things of me and demanding things of me, then and it's sort of like I've got these giant shoulder pads. I feel like I've got to like carry it all and like march through and get it all sort of. And then I imagine Jesus turning up and he's looking at me, seeing how I feel like I have to carry all this. And he's drawn towards me in compassion. And he's like, no, you can put that down. You don't have to overfunction for those people. You don't have to overfunction for me, which is what you just said. Like, God, I don't have to feel like I have to carry it and I have to fix it and I have to overfunction, because he is the mighty warrior amongst us.
Yes.
Who loves us. And so it's, in the end, it's kind of down to faith in who God is and faith that God is God and I am not.
I'm like, I feel like that has been the thing that has genuinely changed my life, is that sense of like, oh, God made me with limits. Like, he made me
Yeah.
with limits
Yeah.
pre-fall, like, for my good. You're like, oh yeah, he doesn't need me to do all of this. Like, he never needed me to do this. Like, if he, like, the fact that I get to go along with it is great. And like, but God doesn't need me to do any of his work. He can achieve what he wants. But,
Yeah.
some people just kind of naturally accept that. And some people just like
No, yeah.
have to learn this the hard way.
I don't know how it was for you, but I can definitely see it partly coming from a childhood where my whole identity was shaped around what I achieved, being good. So that drives me. Then I know I am okay if I'm needed, if I'm being useful,
Mm-hmm.
if people appreciate me, all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
100%. Yeah.
So I had this other image of like living like that is like, honestly, it's like riding a big bad wave at trig or something, and then you know how they dump you those waves. and then you're
Yes.
like, or City Beach, and then you're like, boom. And so once you're not useful, or you've disappointed someone, or you reach your day off and you're just feeling done, you're just sitting there feeling stunned, like, what happened to me? And instead, I want to be like a tree that's like strong, deep rooted. It can bend in the breeze. It can be
Planted by
flexible.
living water. Yes.
That's
Like
right.
next to the
Solid and
stream.
flexible.
That's so crazy that you were telling me both of these things, because I have been really stuck on, if I'm putting my hope in something else, like if what I need to feel good is like everyone is happy with me, like I'm kicking
Mm,
goals, people are happy with me. But you're like, that's really tenuous. Like I can never have everyone happy with me. It's like trying to
mm,
hold on to the wind, and you're like the wave. And I'm like, yeah, it's like the wave. Like it's the same. But there's a real sturdiness in being like, you know what? Not everyone will always be happy with me. But if I'm like planted by the stream, I'm not going anywhere. It's so sturdy.
mm,
You're like, God says I'm okay, and I can
mm.
hold to that. Like that priority really just changes everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's a big change of identity, really.
Mm,
Yeah.
yeah. I'm really great at having defense shield. I'm very like, I spend a lot of time being cynical. It's delightful. I'm a delight.
Yeah. I wouldn't have picked it. You do seem delightful, but you
Oh,
reach your
you
limit.
do. You do. You're like, well, you're not designed to do everything.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I love that. I think it's something nice to just be like, I don't have to do all of these things just because they feel real, just because they feel urgent or important doesn't mean, like, if I line that up with like scripture, you're like, actually, a
Mm.
lot of these things aren't true, and God is not actually asking me to do these things. Yeah.
I still can't believe how Jesus was. I still can't believe that he didn't heal everyone he could have healed, you know? I
He
I
healed
think,
someone and
God,
then he went back to the wilderness for like ages.
yeah. And he healed one person, you know, all those people with illness or disability lying at that pool, and he just went to that one guy, healed him, and then left everyone
Mm.
else.
Yeah.
Like,
And just
I'm like,
like,
gosh, I feel like I have to help everyone, and I feel like if I don't, I'm failing at the task I've been sent here for. I'm failing to love people well, and because if I love them well, then surely then something will happen spiritually inside them. But no, I don't think that is what the Bible represents.
no. Like,
Yeah,
yeah. You're like, well, God calls you to be faithful. He's like, well, who's in front of you today? And like, love your neighbor. But yeah, I mean, it's just, yeah, you look at Jesus and you're like, his life was crazy. You're like, yeah, he just was like, let's go, like, let's come away with me for a while. We'll go to a quiet place. Like, he was always just like sneaking off to pray. But you
yeah,
think he was also like really, really busy, but he just was 100% like clear on what he was meant
mm,
to be doing all the time.
mm,
Yeah. I'm like,
it was.
yeah.
Must have come from all that. Well, number one being who he was, but all that time he spent praying, I suppose that helped. Knowing what his father wanted him to do.
mm. Yeah, all that time being like, my time's not yet come. It's not now. It's not now. And then he was like,
Mm.
it's now.
And you know, he said, remember how he said, the poor will always be with you, or something like that.
Yes.
He didn't. He could have solved that, at least in his region. Didn't do that either.
No. What he was most concerned about is like, yeah, I mean, all the miracles just pointed to like God's kingdom is coming. But they
Yeah.
weren't like, he wasn't there to heal everyone. It was to point to like the spiritual reality. But yeah.
And investing in a limited number of people.
Yes. And you think, what? So he like invested in 12 guys and those 12 guys like changed the world. Like he
Yeah.
didn't start like, a program and like this online program and DM me and I'll like send you the link.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're like loving people is just like completely inefficient. and it just takes a
Yeah.
long time, and it takes a lot longer than what you think, and like people change really slowly, and we change really slowly, and we're much more sinful than we ever considered. Like,
Mm.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
We have in our
Oh,
city, there's 1 million people, and we have 13 boys in our boys' club. So we've
oh.
been thinking about that. Like, it feels like a drop in the ocean, but oh well, similar to Jesus.
But that's how you think it's the mustard seed. You're like, his kingdom just makes no sense. It's completely upside down. Yeah.
Yeah, I appreciate all those parables about yeast and about things growing overnight when the farmer's asleep, or the
Mm,
mustard seed growing to be this huge tree. It's very not logical and disproportionate the way
yeah.
God brings fruit, which is cool.
What is a word of encouragement you could offer to a woman? Like, because we do, like, Christians are, well represented in like healthcare, missions work, there, social work, nursing, all that kind of stuff. We love to help people. Like, what's a word of encouragement you
Mm,
could offer to a woman listening who might be walking like a similar season of like compassion fatigue, burnout? Like, it's just really like these things that I loved, I now don't enjoy,
yeah,
and I'm not a person that I feel like I recognize right now. Like,
yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, what's a word of encouragement you could offer to her?
Mm. I think there is a way back, and I think that that image of either a what did you say? Oh, in the wind or a dumping wave. If that's how you feel, Jesus calls us to be a deep rooted tree, and so I just think that's a more hopeful image to think of who am I, because when I did feel like I was dumped by a wave and I was empty, but that is not true of who I am. I am a well-rooted tree. It's just that I'd lost, wasn't feeling it anymore. And I would say it's life is too short to not work on growing. And so if you're in the middle of a hard season like that, go and find a mentor or talk to a friend or go and pay for a counselor or pay for a spiritual director. Like, go and get some good input, because my friends who have done that, who have invested in intentional growth, input from people, have discovered these beautiful new seasons of their life, and hard and painful things have become beautiful things. And obviously we see that it's possible to not do that. It's possible to stay very stuck in unhealthy
Mm,
patterns of relating that affects everybody around you. And I think that that's dumb. So, not meant to be discouraging if you're struggling, but what I mean is you have all the permission. I give you all the permission to use resources and give yourself space and wise input and wise counsel to help reflect on what's going on underneath. Why have I got to this point, kind of thing. Yeah.
yeah, because
And that,
the answer isn't you're a terrible person.
no, it's not that you're a terrible person, but pay attention that something is going on. Your body and your brain is trying to tell you something. Yeah. And go and light a candle. I've really enjoyed that. Sometimes when you're in these states, I feel like you've lost touch with just simple mindful being presentness. And so now every time I go to have a quiet time or whatever, read, I light a candle. And sometimes I'm feeling like kind of numb and overwhelmed. And so I just literally look at the flame with the
Oh,
candle for a while.
so good.
And I
Yeah.
think that's kind of what the spirit is like. It's alive and it's dynamic, it's moving shape, it's warm, it's got energy. And it really helps focus me. I do that for a few minutes and then I can like engage a bit better with what I'm trying to do. Yeah.
I like that. It's
So
getting
that's
away
what I
from
would
just
say.
like the intellectual.
Yeah. I really love doing stuff, imaginative prayer stuff. Like there's some really cool stuff from Catholics online where they are reading like a story from the Gospels and they're asking you to imagine you're in the story and what you feel and how what you would say to Jesus. And I find that super powerful.
Yeah, and there's like some really fascinating stuff. Like, in there's like imagery rescripting protocols that they do, like with trauma. So like EMDR, I love, is awesome, and they also do imagery rescripting. And what they find is like the brain can't really distinguish between like I'm there or I'm imagining it. Like, yeah. So I think there's something really nice that we don't really quite understand yet. So
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah. If you
Yeah.
if someone has compassion fatigue or feels like they don't know who they are anymore, they might be a person who is quite sensitive and emotional and connects with people. And so I think that using these creative forms of connecting with God are a gift. And I didn't grow up hearing about them. Like, there's some Kirk Thompson has a really cool website where he's got a collection of images or music clips, and you can look at one depending on how you're feeling, and then it has some questions, prompts, and always I feel like something powerful comes out of that. And doing these imaginative, entering the gospel stories, all these things are super cool. Engaging your right side of the brain.
I don't know. I'm like
No, left side of the
one of
brain,
them.
whichever one it is. Right side.
I'm like, one of us should know, and I'm like, it's not me. I don't remember.
Yeah. I just have been reading a book called The Other Half of Church. It's about that. It's about using your whole brain, and that character formation happens more on the right. Is it the right side of the brain? The creative side. That's the side where character formation happens. So if we just tell people to read and grow in knowledge, then it won't affect them at a deep character level. Actually,
It's that, isn't
let's
it?
see.
It's the like you don't want to know so much about God but it doesn't impact like your
No,
life.
all
It's
sorts of
that real slow,
bad stuff
like
happens.
praying and obeying it into your life.
Yeah, yeah. Encounter the truth kind of thing. Okay, yeah. So let's see. The right is the creative side. Yes, there we go. So if the right side is not engaged, we're not going to have real deep transformation. So we have to get beyond just giving people knowledge and stuff, which is on the left side.
Now that is really interesting. I
Yeah.
think, like, I actually think that's the thing I'm going to take away from this is like that real sense of, there's that image of you at the start, like with the compassion fatigue. Well, actually, no. It's that sense of like I'm a really good girl. Like I am a good girl, and I've always been good, and I achieve and I do things, and I make people happy, and that works until a point where you're so overburdened and exhausted.
Mm.
But that's not the end of the story. I love that, like, it's that faith that is much more rich and deep than you ever imagined, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, it's not, like, yeah, there's this rich, imaginative, creative, beautiful inheritance that you
Yeah.
get to enjoy, and like also a God who is big enough to hold and carry you in all of that.
Mm.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, but it's worth that kind of wrestle to tease out all the things that aren't actually true.
Mm.
Yeah, to be like, I'm going to be
Yeah.
more deeply rooted, and it's going to cost me and it's going to hurt, but where you've ended up is so much richer than where you were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it is sort of like you said, yeah, it's a coming to more deeper experience of and relying on the gospel. So all along it's been like I assent to it, and I am convicted of it, and I follow it, but actually, I can see my whole life I could get away with, to some degree, thinking I was a little bit like God in a way. I could be good and perfect and la la la, but like, no, no, oh no, I'm not. And then there's, like you said, there's this richness of being a human and letting God be God.
Yeah. Yeah, you're like, it's just My self-image has to die. That's fine.
That's right. Yeah.
I'm fine with that. It's cool. Right. So who do you nominate for this next? Like, is there like a woman who encourages you who you think would be good to hear from?
My nomination is Blodwin. Great name, Blodwin. She's at least 95.
Hey, awesome.
I know. She's like the sharpest person I know. Like, she's so smart, so witty, and she lived in Malaysia and Hong Kong for a long time when she had young children as a worker. And she just really encouraged me in my journey of getting here. And she's very astute. She's sometimes she says to me a funny thing. She says, us smart people, we can just get really anxious sometimes because we think a lot. She's just really funny and really wise, and because she's 95, like, her health is not always solid. So I'm not sure if she'd be up for a podcast episode, but I could check in. But I really value her. And when she was in her 80s, her and her friends, late 80s probably, or maybe mid 80s, her and her friends were at my church. They decided they needed to leave our church, which was a big, well-established church, to go to a small church in their suburb, which needed more support in order to be more missional. They were like, we need to do this, make this move. So 3 of them moved across to do that.
I just love this. And like, we have some, like, I coordinate like a play group, right? And we just have these beautiful older ladies. And I remember ringing them being like, hey, like, we need help with like vacuuming, and we need help with play group. But, I also just want to like get to know you. Like, I'm in a season of life where I realize I need wisdom, but I don't have it, and I'm always wrangling my children. And so these like lovely ladies have come along, and they're just similar. You think it would be easy to cruise in that season of life, to be like, I'm done enough. Like, but you think they come along and they vacuum and they chat to mums and they make coffees and they're like funny and sassy and just like so great. So I love that these ladies are like, okay, they need to be more missional. Like, off we go. Like, it's just, I want to be like that when I'm old. Like, that's just so cool.
Yeah, it's amazing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That's awesome. Yeah. Well, I'm going to take that away. I'm like, it's worth the fight to have a richer faith. I love it, man. Thank you so much for being on the podcast and just sharing so thoughtfully or emotionally. I don't know.
Thank you for being the brains and the brawn behind this whole creative ministry and encouraging us.
I'm just having
an honor.
Oh, I'm having a great time. I'm thrilled that anyone has come along with me.
That's it from us, friends. We hope you enjoyed today's episode. And if you did, you can sign up to our free weekly newsletter called Stories I Tell You at Dinner. So you get essays, poetry, podcast episodes, everything, photo essays straight to your inbox on Wednesdays from March through to November from Christian women in Western Australia. If you'd like that, the link is in the show notes. Thanks for listening, guys. Bye.